Have you got
Oh,
Paul?
yes,
Paul,
yes.
have you got a company you want to talk about?
I have got one company I want to talk about.
Great. Gav, have you got a company that I
I've
told
got
you to
the
talk about?
best company in the world to talk about, Howard.
I've got a company to talk about. Should we do a little podcast?
Let's do one.
Okay.
My name is Paul Harvey. This is Sustainable Old Men, and today we are talking about some products and companies that have inspired us because the world needs to change and it will be done by business that will lead some of these changes. And so this is the time to talk about it. So, Gavin, thank you so much for being here with me today. And Howard, what have you got for us, Gavin?
I think I possibly should go last because I've got carbon capture, and we know there's a big fan
There
on
is.
the podcast.
All right, so what? I'll go first. I'll go first.
Okay.
Let's do a screen share. So this is a company called ENSO, NSO,
Hmm.
ENSO, and they have developed a range of tires which are specifically designed for
Ooh.
EVs. And what I think is so
Okay.
fantastic, so what is the one criticism I see around a lot about EVs is that they say that the tires, because the cars are so heavy, well, they're not particularly, but this is the big criticism that they're so heavy that the tires wear down more and cause more pollution. And it is true, tires are a problem. There is a lot of pollution caused by tires, but this company has developed a range of products which actually are particularly designed for EVs. Now, I think the technology is somehow proprietary because they're not saying what they're doing and how they're doing it. But I just think it's fantastic that someone stepped up to the mark on this to create this. Now, they are also involved in other things. They're involved in electric cars generally, but they're also a B corporation. So it's fantastic to see a tire company who are literally working to create something and become a B corporation. Not that I understand fully about B corps, because I'm sure one of you guys will tell me a lot more about them. But it's unique. I've not seen any of the other major tire companies step up to the mark on this, and there are a lot of tire companies about. So that's the one that I am really pleased with today.
Cool. So I want to tell you about a company that I discovered called Raylo.
Hmm?
So Raylo are very interesting. They have come up with a business model where they share or you lease your digital devices and products and services. So the device costs you less. You don't have ownership. You lease it, much like a leased car. Then at the end of its lease, they take the device back and then they refurbish and recycle. So that whole element of reuse, replace, repair, okay, is no, don't replace, reuse, repair, and what?
Recycle.
There's another recycle, yeah. Reuse, repair, and recycle is covered in this. So as the phones get older, they pass them down to into different organizations. So you lease a new phone. When it comes back, it then becomes a used phone. And when it comes back after that, it can then become a reused phone or still good phone. And then finally, the pieces in the mobile phone are finally recycled. So I would like to call out Raylo for having a brilliant idea for a business model. And I wish them all of their success.
How's it going? I mean, have you seen it? Are their phones looking
No,
like?
so I've just I discovered them the other day. I've had a little look and started to follow their website. And if I was to be looking for a new device, I probably would definitely take a look at that. I'm going to do some more investigation on this company. But the idea, as an organisation that constantly puts the repurposing of existing materials into place, feels like that's a smart move.
I don't understand why white goods industries haven't gone down this road. I don't understand why the likes of washing machine companies and dishwasher companies are not doing this.
Mm.
Because I've got a dishwasher, which I picked up for free because I am
Mm.
one of these people that likes to muck about with things. And it had a fault, and I fixed that fault. It has another fault, but the company will not tell me how to solve the other fault.
Really?
I can buy the parts from them
Yeah.
I want to, but I can't return the parts. It's down. I've got it down to two parts. There are two things that are wrong with this dishwasher. He won't heat up, but but the element's fine. So two things, possibilities, and they will not tell me the specification on one of those items so that I can
That's
rule
outrageous.
it out.
That's outrageous.
Apparently, I should, if I'm skilled enough to do this, I should know the answer myself.
That's outrageous.
Intriguingly enough, European lawmakers have passed a law to ensure that there is a right to repair. So manufacturers now have to provide more information on how to repair their products in the EU.
Yeah. So I've got the part out. I've got the part out, and it's a piece about that sort of size. And what it does. It's called a turbidity sensor, and it's a temperature sensor. What it does, it looks at the water and sees how cloudy the water is. If the water's too cloudy, it knows it needs to do another cycle, and then it just tests the temperature of the water to basically control how much heat is being provided. Now I can test that piece, but I can't find any connections on it. I don't understand what I'm looking at. If they would tell me what I should know, what the test should be for that, I could then rule it out. And it's a £35 piece of kit, or even that, 20 quid. I can buy them second hand for 10. But the circuit board is 160 quid to make it. Now I don't know which one to go for. So that's why I'm at the moment. So yes, I really think now they could offer dishwashers. If you could rent a dishwasher and say, look, it'll cost you 100 quid a year for a dishwasher, and if there's any problem, we'll take it away. Would someone pay for that?
Well, see, that's also a really good idea. But then also you could have interconnectable and interchangeable parts, right? Yeah. So when something goes on, you just take out the part, plug and play back in. I'm sure someone must be listening to this and find an application for that.
And Paul, don't forget radio rentals. I know it don't exist anymore. And Rumbelow. The business model was used in the past.
Yeah, no, it's a good business model. It's a good business model.
I guess it was because TVs were over £1,000 each, weren't they? No one could afford them. So yeah, paying like £5 a week for your TV was doable, wasn't it? Or less, what it was. Yeah.
Are we ready for this big build-up?
So who are you talking about, Gav?
I'm talking about this mob.
Wow, nice website.
Yay!
It's actually quite good. It's quite therapeutic just to have on your screen. Which is basically their product is websites, frankly. No. Apparently they do something else. They do something else. Let me tell you a bit more. Right. So carbon capture, as the name suggests, is all about capturing carbon. And they use this by not planting trees, as might be suggested by the website. Indeed, they actually grow seaweed and kelp. The reason why, and you can see this on the screen, they grow 30 times quicker than forests. I did find out that a giant kelp can grow up to 30 centimeters every day, which is quite impressive. Now, one of the key things, because I looked at some critical things just to keep a bit of balance, one of the key things that carbon capture do is they harvest the seaweed. That is critical. And they use pyrolysis to generate it into biochar, and then it is used on local communities and on farms. It's great because there's a social dimension, which I'll let Howard talk about in a second, but I want to just touch on the fact they harvest the seaweed, because the critical papers have talked about seaweed as not being an effective manner to actually capture carbon. That is because those people have analyzed seaweed and have analyzed it as it decomposes and thus releases carbon in the decomposition process, whereas carbon capture harvest and deal with it. And that, I think, is absolutely key, because if you start reading the negative papers, the fact that it's how would you want to make the social aspects and how you're getting other communities from Newfoundland and I've forgotten some of the other places you're working in, where you're getting involved with local communities in the process?
Yeah. So we're
Can I
won't
just stop you a moment? Can you go off this screen because it's really
take
pulling
a lot of
on
bandwidth.
it's taking a lot of bandwidth, I think, or the movement.
Okie
So we are working with a number of with a number of communities at the moment. We are one of the things that I'm not allowed to talk about is the next farm that we're going to be launching. But effectively, we have collaboration products with big businesses that are starting to do things in different areas of the UK and Europe. Let's just use that for now. Yeah, so the idea is that not only do we support the local aquaculture industry and seaweed farmers and fishermen, we help them, give them an income outside of the farming cycle. We're then bringing back jobs to communities that are directly impacted by climate change. And then when you work in collaboration with other businesses to be able to do that, you then get almost like a symbiotic relationship between the different sets of stakeholders who are effectively the environment, and aka the oceans and land. They are the local communities, they are the big businesses, and they are science and academia and the general public. The idea of being able to sponsor ropes for individuals and for businesses is a great way to engage with ecology services. The fact that we're not just growing the seaweed, we're harvesting it and doing it when it's when it's full and big is about rebalancing what's happening in our oceans with making sure that we try to help and recover the soil and the quality of the soil that we have in our where we grow our food.
What is interesting for me about carbon capture, and I've done a lot of work with it because I've been sort of supporting Howard with his marketing side of the stuff, is I think it's a unique operation. I've not found any other operations that are selling something like this. This is basically you're hiring a gardener. That's the only kind of like symbology I can look at it, because it's like you're hiring this organization to operate a service for you.
And what's really also quite cool is the fact that we're not trying to own any other part of it other than providing a service. We're the intermediary
Yeah.
to make sure that the farmer, the aquaculture farmer, gets as much of their money from the good work that they do in feeding us. The pyrolysis service is about making sure that we can lock away carbon, and then we lock it away and make sure we provide it as a service to farmers who then have a less reliance on artificial fertilizers and pesticides, and that has a lower footprint. That's an avoidance credit as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Because what is interesting is that any other seaweed thing, I mean, there was a thing I saw the other day. Some companies got a major £21 million investment in some new seaweed project somewhere. It's like a massive project. But when you look at all of these projects, it's all about, it's still looking at a linear business economy. It's still looking at putting something in, extracting and making a product, which then it's all an extraction process. Where what I can see about carbon capture, it's actually not an extraction process. It is a recovery process.
And go.
Yeah, just to add, I appreciate I've been cynical about carbon capture in the past. However, I'd like to say that it's actually an achievement to say that the length of the ropes that you have planted so far, on the website it says 1,000,000 meters, which is 1,000 kilometers, which is basically almost an update from Howard to say it is true, London to Edinburgh and back.
Okay, so we will plant those by 2024, by the end of 2024. So it doesn't say that we've done it yet. So I'd like to just have a caveat because I like to be truthful about these things. We're going to require active participation, but yes, that would be that sort of distance. And the 1,000,000 meters of rope is really critical for us. We want to get to that stage as quickly as possible. But what I was going to add was I was fortunate enough to have a conversation with Chris Ronchetti, who used to be the CFO of Carbon Intelligence, and now it's Carbon Intelligence Essentia. And what he was talking about in the area of climate change is that this business model and the service that we provide is at the bleeding edge of what businesses are finally starting to think about. So as a timely service, we are on time going to be able to deliver a service that people are finally starting to acknowledge and understand its benefits. So we're really quite proud of of where we got to, but we definitely need much more support from people to sort of to sponsor our ropes, and we will do all that we can to get to that 1 million meters.
It is
Gav.
The end of my presentation, Paul. With my
Thank you.
beautifully done.
Thank
Beautifully
you.
done. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. And and what it does show though is that it's like there will be more people like Howard and his team turning up and doing this kind of thing. There will be people will start to see that this more and more. And certainly Rihanna, you can see some of the stuff Rihanna Reese, some of the stuff that she's showing about seaweed. I mean, seaweed is becoming a real buzzword at the moment. I think it's because I guess it's because people suddenly realize that it doesn't burn. You can't plant, you can guarantee it's not going to burn. That's the most important thing, or be flooded out.
No, it's true. It will still survive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for a wonderful. It's lovely to get the band back together and have these chats. I've really missed them for the last few weeks, and let's draw a line on this one and catch you next time.
Take care.
All the best, my friends. All the best.
Draw a rope.
Oh, good.
Oh, he's done it again.
Boom.
Bang, bang.